Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe really shook the fighting game community as a whole, especially the Mortal Kombat fans, because this was the very first time that Mortal Kombat had a really big crossover with a beloved and large IP, DC, and the game, in my opinion, was great. It's got a lot of controversy, a lot of hate. I think it gets a lot of undeserved hate. I think the game was great. I see its problems, but like, the game was really cool.
Take it one step at a time.
So today I'm going over, as you can see right here, I've created my dream roster if they would ever make a Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe 2. As we get into my dream roster, my dudes, I do want to say a couple things. I think we're starting off with 15 characters each. So 15 on Mortal Kombat, 15 on DC. And then of course I have on the sides here, we have DLC packs. So they did like, Mortal Kombat DLC pack and then a DC pack for DLC 2, or maybe they mix and match, whatever. The point is, we got 4 DLC characters on each side. Secondly, I do want to state that, as we get started, it's going to be very obvious for a lot of the characters, because obviously if you make a game like this, number 2, like if you do like Mortal Kombat versus DC 2, you're going to include characters, like Batman, like Scorpion. As we can see, as we start into the list, you're going to have these characters. So like, don't be mad or surprised when you see Scorpion and spoiler Sub-Zero, stuff like that. So I do have a couple of fun and really cool picks, I think, but again, when you only have 15 character slots for each franchise and you want this game to sell, you're probably going to be picking your most popular and a selling point characters from each franchise. So don't expect some crazy one-off picks from each side, because that just wouldn't sell. It doesn't make sense. Now, though it is a dream roster, I'm also realistic about it. And I do want to say that the first Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe roster was not huge. I think there was only 10 on each side, and then they had Shao Kahn and Darkseid as like the secret bosses or whatever. So they had 11, right? So going up from, let's say, 10 base roster to the 15 we have here, we're up in the scale 33%, give or take. And then of course the DLC packs that I have. So, but again, even though it is larger, it was so hard to pick the right characters and the ones that I wanted to see on each side, because there are just so many cool characters. And honestly, from the first game, there are some that I just don't see, like, why they put in the game. Like, why would you include Catwoman? Why is she here? Out of all the heroes to pick from DC, you chose Catwoman? I don't, why? Spoiler, Catwoman is not on my list here. So we're gonna be going back and forth. Let's do Mortal Kombat first again. A lot of these might not be surprising, because obviously if you have Scorpion, you have to have Sub-Zero. Obviously, those are the faces of Mortal Kombat. And kind of going back and forth, that game between MK and DC here. You're gonna have Superman, Batman, Superman, Scorpion, Sub-Zero. Again, a lot of these are very stable characters. They're the faces of DC, they're the faces of Mortal Kombat. You cannot make a DC game without those two. You can't have a Mortal Kombat game without those two, right? So those are, I don't have a lot to say on those. Those are just like, yeah, you're gonna see those characters, obviously. So back on the Mortal Kombat side, we got Raiden. Now, you might say, well, if you're a Raiden main, you're biased. I mean, I am biased, but again, also realistic. Like, if you're gonna have a Mortal Kombat game, especially fighting a whole another IP, whole new universe, Raiden's just like he's just a face of the franchise. He's just a face of Mortal Kombat. Like, yeah, I play him, he's my main, but like, you do understand he is also like one of the main characters of Mortal Kombat. He is the protector of Earthrealm up until Mortal Kombat 1, I know, but still, you have to have Raiden, duh, obviously. On the DC side, we got the Flash. Yes, we're gonna have a lot of Justice League members, but that does not take away how awesome they would be in a game like this. Now, again, a lot of these are kind of repeats from the first game, but that not everyone will be, i.e. Catwoman, but a lot of them Justice League members you're gonna have to have. And the Flash is one of them. The most iconic speedster in the DCU, again, a Justice League founding member. You're gonna have the Flash and his kit, especially with like the modern technology, because people forget that the first Mortal Kombat versus DC, I believe, was Midway. It wasn't even over to NRS yet. So like, what the games NRS have done and the gameplay mechanics they have built for their games, we have not seen, of course, in Mortal Kombat vs. DC 2, but like, it won't be the same because it's not the same company, right? So like, Midway's not going to come in and do this number 2. It would be NRS or whoever owns the IPs at this point, but it wouldn't be Midway again, right? So like, I also don't think it would be 3D. It would definitely be 2D with the way that NRS and Mortal Kombat as a whole and Injustice even have like set their stage, their foundation as we are a 2D fighter. So like, it would be a very, very different game. So just wanted to kind of iterate that as well. Back to Mortal Kombat, yes, Liu Kang. I did choose Fire God Liu Kang because I love that idea of Liu Kang. Now, not every image you see here is that iteration of the character. A lot of them just, PNGs that look good on this roster, but like, some of them I did choose for a reason, and Fire God Liu Kang is one of them, because when you have, an Ice Ninja fighting Superman, you're like, well, Ice Ninja's gonna get wrecked. Now, I know I don't want to include a power scale super heavy on this list, but like, it would be really cool to see a Fire God fight a Superman or, other gods on this list too. So Liu Kang as a character, but me specifically, Fire God Liu Kang, personally, I would love to see that more. On the DC side, we got Hawk Girl. Yes, first female on this list actually, and because again she's a really cool character, really cool abilities and powers, but again a founding Justice League member. She was actually not on the MK vs DC universe first games roster. They chose Catwoman over Hawk Girl. I would way rather have Hawk Girl personally. I think she's awesome, and I think she'd be a great moveset, and I think she deserves to be in more DC games. Back on the Mortal Kombat side, Shao Kahn, bro. He wasn't, as you saw, he was kind of the secret boss or whatever for the first one, but even then, if you're gonna bring some big baddies into a Mortal Kombat vs DC Universe 2 game, you gotta have Shao Kahn, bro. Like, there's some argument to be made for other big baddies in Mortal Kombat, you know, like Shinnok and Shang Tsung and whatever, but like, you want the game to sell, because this number 2 has the kind of that weird reputation of the first game being beloved by a lot, but also known for not being so great. So like, if you want to really sell and you want to make that statement piece of like, no, this game is 1,000 times better, you gotta have Shao Kahn. Like, you want the game to sell, so you include Shao Kahn in that list, obviously. Cyborg is again a founding member of the Justice League. How do you not have Cyborg? He's not my favorite character ever, but I do understand his place in the DCU or just the whole universe of DC, right? So like, I understand why he's here. I like him as a character. I just don't play him in a lot of the fighting games. He's just not my favorite character, but I see, you have to understand and see why he's on this list, obviously. Back on the Mortal Kombat side, if you're gonna have Shao Kahn, you gotta have the women, right? You gotta have Melina, and you know, I'm just gonna spoil it right now, you gotta have Katana, right? Melina, Katana, as my buddy Mad Mike said, they're Mario and Luigi. You gotta have them together. Very weird to have Katana and not have Melina. Plus, they're both great, and they both play very differently with their powers, you might call them, and their weapons and their color schemes, their lore. They're just so different that like, they absolutely deserve their own spot. And if they were to do a Mortal Kombat vs DC 2, first of all, I want them, but also I believe that they would be on the base roster personally. Now, to finish off this middle row for the DC side, of course, Wonder Woman. You just, again, the trio: Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman. You can't not have Wonder Woman, right? The founding member of the Justice League and the founding woman of the Justice League. So like, Wonder Woman, like, she's got to be on there. And then of course, my boy Aquaman. And I know the latest movies have done him justice. He's awesome. I love Aquaman. You guys know me, I'm an Aquaman fan. I have all of his pops and statues. I'm a big Aquaman fanatic. Love him. But again, even if you don't love the character, you do understand that he is a founding member of the Justice League and very unique, right? Like the king of Atlantis. He's got the trident, the water. He's got all his own, you know, unique area of specialties and powers and abilities that do stand out amongst these other characters, that he absolutely deserves a spot on the base roster for an MK vs DC 2. Now, so far, we have a lot of staple characters. In fact, over here on the DC side, this is basically just the founding Justice League members. Nothing crazy so far. I wonder if Shao Kahn might have surprised a lot of you guys, but again, he's like just a big baddie in Mortal Kombat. When you think of a big baddie in Mortal Kombat, chances are you think of Shao Kahn, maybe Shang Tsung. I think of Shao Kahn more often than not. That's kind of why I put him here personally. But as we're going through this list too, let me know your thoughts down below, guys. What do you think of the characters on this list so far? And as we go through it, let me know which picks surprise you, which picks you disagree with, and stuff like that. Let me know your thoughts down below. Let's go ahead and move on to the side rosters here. Not that they're like the side characters, but like, you know, not the main middle of the roster here. And we have Reptile. Now, again, if you were to make this game and you're like, hey, I know the reputation that it has, we have to have this game sell. And so if you have to have this game sell well, you're going to include your most iconic, staple, and fan favorite characters, because again, you want the game to sell and you want it to do well. And honestly, Reptile is just a really cool character, bro. Like turning into a human, reptile, acid ball, all that stuff, and also being like the iconic green ninja, you have to have Reptile. Like, absolutely deserves more love and a spot on the MK vs DC 2 list. On the DC side, we have more founding members of the Justice League, because it's just so weird. It's just so weird if you don't have a game, if you don't have a DC game that is like, you know, Justice League members and the heroes to not have Green Lantern and or, you know, characters like the Flash or Aquaman, like they're just part of the Justice League. It's like, yeah, they're gonna be there. Obviously, let's do another couple of DC ones while we're already over here. And we got Shazam. Now, Shazam might be one where you could argue, oh, that one's my first disagreement. I don't think he would be on here. I do, bro. Like Shazam, not to say like iconic, of course, but like he is just a really cool DC character. The power of 7 gods that spell Shazam. Billy Batson walks out, yells Shazam, becomes Shazam. Like, dude, he's like a 13-year-old and like this 7 god power body. Like, that is such a cool and unique thing that a hero has. Now, the reason why I chose also a lot of these characters is, first of all, I want, but also I do want to talk about real quick. I'm gonna state this, that just because they're here doesn't mean that other characters could not be. What I mean by that is like they would have premiere skins for a lot of these characters, right? So if they really wanted to like not waste character slots, put Green Lantern in as the face, but then also have premiere skins for other lanterns, right? Like have orange, you know, blue lanterns, black lanterns, have different voice lines, but it's still the same character, same moveset, just the animations change, the voice lines change, and of course his appearance changes, but the character stays the same. So that way, what I'm getting at is, for Shazam, have a premier skin be Black Adam, so that you can have both Black Adam and Shazam in the same game without wasting 2 character slots for two similar characters, right? Like for Aquaman, have his brother Ocean Master. Like they're very similar, so rather than waste 2 slots, you have 1 slot, but you can interchange the premier skins, right? So with Flash, you have Reverse Flash and so on, right? Like they did this for past Injustice games. Like let's just do it again. That way we get more characters. We're getting the best return on investment, right? Like you're making 1 character, but you're able to add 2, 3, or 4 characters in a way to 1 character slot. So if you're like, well, I want Black Adam, I'm like, just add him as a premier skin. That would be great. Let's do one more on the DC side before we go back over to MK, and we got Martian Manhunter, my boy. I think that Martian Manhunter is super underrated in so many ways. A lot of times underutilized. He's the underdog for a lot of comics and movies and media, and Martian Manhunter needs more face. He needs to be more upfront. He is, depending on what you're reading, one of the founding members of the Justice League, and also one of the most powerful characters of the Justice League. Like he's taken on the whole Justice League by himself and held his own. Yes, even if Superman is involved, this guy is powerful. He's insane. He's super unique. One of the most unique characters on this list so far. Like they could just do so much with his kit. I would love to see Marshman. Now, as we go over onto the Mortal Kombat side, you'll see the reason why I did 3 over here, because I want to show off 3 more over here, and you'll see why. I might just do them all in a quick row because I kind of want to explain myself, but I'll go a little bit slower here. We got Rain. As you can see, we're getting the ninjas, baby. We're getting Scorpion. We're getting Sub-Zero. We're getting Reptile and Rain. So hold up. Don't get too ahead of yourself here. But yes, Rain. Like we have Aquaman over here, the water guy. Where's the water ninja? You know what I'm saying? We got Rain. I would probably main both of them because they're both so freaking cool. And again, just like a lot of these characters, I think that Rain deserves more love. If you want the game to sell, again, you're going to include your most fan favorite characters that are going to want to buy the game because they're a huge Rain fan. And there's a huge cult following for, characters like Melina and Rain. And of course, the next one here, I'm going to go over one more. You'll see why. But we have Smoke. We're getting the ninjas, baby. We're getting the ninjas. Reptile, Rain, Smoke. You got to have the ninjas. The ninjas are what people associate Mortal Kombat most of the time, of course, with Scorpion, Sub-Zero, the ninjas, right? Like you're going to have Smoke, you're going to have Reptile, you're going to have Rain. And then, of course, my favorite ninja, if you can call him that, of all freaking time. This is probably the first bias pick on the Mortal Kombat side, because a lot of these I do believe would be on this list if they would make the game. And then this one, I could see like why you would argue he wouldn't be. Complete bias pick, if I were to make the game, he would be probably the cover character because I love him that much, and that is Tremor. Tremor is a phenomenal character. Amazing, fearsome, sleek design, earth, badass bending ninja, bro. Are you kidding me? This guy is throwing lava, rocks, crystals. He was the coolest character, without a doubt, without question, in Mortal Kombat X. And then they dropped him down to a cameo in Mortal Kombat 1. I was like, you took one of your coolest characters and you made him a cameo? That is injustice. That is literally injustice. Do my boy justice and bring him to the next game. I don't care what it is. If it is Mortal Kombat vs. DC 2, bring him in the game. And as you guys can see here, we have the ninjas, baby. We got all the ninjas, and well, not all of them quite yet, but you get the idea. You get the idea. All right, let's do a couple more over here on the DC side. We got the Joker. I think our very first villain here, unless you're gonna count, bad Superman or whatever. Whether you love him or hate him or think he's oversaturated and overmarketed, the Joker is one of the most iconic, not only DC villains, but just villains of all time in movies, comics, video games. The Joker is at the forefront of DC villains. And again, I would think as villains in general. So if you make a DC game and you're gonna include a lot of heroes and villains, you're probably gonna include the Joker. Again, you want it to sell, and Joker will sell, I promise you that much. And honestly, he's just a fun character. A lot of times he's just like funny and gimmicky and got a lot of dumb stuff going on that I think is, again, funny, humorous, and just a good time overall. And if you're gonna have the Joker, you gotta have Harley Quinn. I'm sorry, again, whether you hate her or love her, she's basically wherever the Joker is gonna be. And there is just like Melina and Rain and Smoke, there's a giant cult following for your girl Harley Quinn. Like people will see Harley Quinn and go, oh, I don't care about any of these characters, I'm gonna main her. Like that's how big of a following she has. All right, let's go back over to the Mortal Kombat because we got 4 characters left over here before we get into the DLC packs, and only 3 over here. So let's do a couple on the Mortal Kombat side. Again, we've already revealed revealed almost 10 more characters since it's like base middle. So again, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think of the characters we've introduced so far? These few middle ones I feel like are, yeah, duh, you can have those, but a couple of these I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Did you expect Shazam, Martian Manhunter, or Tremor? Let me know your thoughts down below. And speaking of ninjas, we're gonna have Ermac. Ermac is funny enough, I don't think always considered like a ninja, but he's like, if you include the lineup of Mortal Kombat ninjas, you include Ermac, you know what I mean? Ermac, very unique character, very cool. His lore is hilarious. He came from a literal error in the game, error macro, so his Ermac, like he came from that. Like he started from the bottom, now he's here, and he's got to be in the game, bro. Again, kind of a cult following. A lot of these characters, they're like, oh, I just freaking love Ermac, and I will main him regardless of who else is on the list because they just love Ermac that much, you know what I'm saying? So 3 more characters left on each side. Let's continue. We go, if you're gonna have the ninjas, include every freaking ninja, and that does include Noob Saibot. Look at this stacked list already, bro. I'm not even joking you. We got Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Reptile Smoke, Tremor, Rain, Noob Saibot, and Ermac. You have the ninjas, bro. Like this right here, imagine all of them just together in one game like this versus DC heroes and stuff. That the concept is insane and so freaking cool. Let's go to the Mortal Kombat side. Let's do one more, leaving one more on the list real quick. We got your boy Johnny Cage. How do you have a Mortal Kombat game without Johnny Cage? One of the most popular characters in Mortal Kombat. I feel like if it wasn't Scorpion, Sub-Zero, it would probably be Johnny Cage. You know what I'm saying? Like Johnny Cage has gained massive popularity within the past probably few years, few games that NRS has done with Johnny Cage. He is, again, I think just one of the most popular. He's the humor, he's the comic relief in the game, and he has a huge fan base. And again, I just could not see a game without him. So when making this roster, I was like, yeah, you gotta have Johnny Cage. Now let's leave one more over here. Let's go back over to the DC side and do a couple of this next one. So Tremor on the Mortal Kombat side was my bias pick. I was like, I want him more than anything in a game like this, so I'm gonna kind of sneak him in there. Everybody else I think makes sense, and I believe they would be in there. Even though I do think Tremor does make sense, I understand he's a bias pick. On the DC side over here, this is my bias pick, and that is Queen Mara. I want more Aquaman rep. We got Black Manta for Injustice 2, and I absolutely loved that. I was like, yes, thank you, more Aquaman rep. I see why they can't do Ocean Master, because again, they're just too similar. So like, I get a Premier skin, would work very well, but if you're gonna do a whole new character, I'm glad they did Black Manta, and he was amazing. And so if you're gonna do another one, you could repeat Black Manta, but I would love to see Queen Mara, the water bending magic and all that. She's more of a water bender than even Aquaman himself would be. He's got the trident, he's more of a up in your face. She's more not like zonery, but you know, she's back there with the water doing crazy stuff. Like, I'm not gonna make this an Aquaman fighting game. I just want to see one more Aquaman rep, and so my bias pick was Queen Mara. I think she would be an amazing pick for a game like this. So again, my bias pick, let me know who your bias pick would be down below, but that one is mine for the DC side. Next we have Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor was in MK vs DC universe number 1. He was in Injustice 1. He's basically just like the Iron Man, if you may, of DC, especially when it comes to the fighting games, right? Like, he's the guy in the suit, he's the gadgets, he's the setups, he's the traps, and I feel like we have to have that kind of character in a fighting game. Like, you have your grapplers, you have your zoners, you have your rush downs, you have your gadget setups, and that is Lex Luthor. So for character variety and also just for lore, you want more Superman rep, but there's a lot of villains that I debated on. You know, I wanted Doomsday and or Lobo. There's a lot of villains that are huge big baddies, but just Lex Luthor just kind of stood out to me in the way that like he's not super big and powerful like Doomsday would be or Lobo. He's just Lex Luthor, the smartest guy, you know, in the universe, whatever, and he's got the suit and the gadgets and the traps and the setups, and I think that makes for a great character variety, especially in a game like this. And then last but not least, on the base roster for the DC side before we get into our DLC packs, and that is, you guessed it, Beast Boy. I was like, dude, I want to include all of the Teen Titans, obviously, but like, how do you not like waste all the slots for a kind of a only 15, 16 characters per side? But we've had Cyborg, we've had Raven, we've had Starfire. I included Cyborg because he is a founding member of the Justice League, and Raven and Starfire are not, but we've had Raven, we've had Starfire. Who have we not had that I do believe modern technology could handle? That is Beast Boy. I mean, Reptile in Mortal Kombat 1 kind of confirmed that they are able to do, transforming animations in the animations of the fight, the specials, the strings. So just do that with Beast Boy, bro. Have his limbs and stuff transform into T-Rex tails or whatever, like gorilla, tiger, lion, like have him in a game in Beast Boy. By the way, this is the only 3D render I could really find that fit kind of with the theme I'm going for here. So sorry, it's the Fortnite one, but like, point is, Beast Boy is the cherry on top of the DC side for the base roster. I feel like maybe a bias pick, but I truly believe he would be an amazing character and would fit right in and kind of complete that DC side side. Now, who would complete the Mortal Kombat side? Last character on this list. Let me know your favorite character that we revealed so far down below. We have Scarlet. I know. Surprise pick for a lot of you guys. You're like, wait, what? Scarlet? Dude, Scarlet is so underutilized, so underrated of a character. Are you kidding me? A bloodbender? We got waterbender over here with Mara, all right? We got ice ninjas, we got fire ninjas. Dude, you know how unique being like a blood ninja is kind of? Dude, that's crazy and super freaking cool. She's nasty, bro. She's a nasty character. And again, I kind of a surprise pick. I guess maybe Scarlet and Tremor are like my bias picks here, but they also, I think, just fit. They give that variety of characters, and they would be amazing. So before we get into our DLC packs here, we got 4 characters on each side that again might be more of a surprise pick. I'm not quite sure. I want to hear your thoughts, but like this right here is what I believe would be a great base roster for Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe 2. There were so many characters to choose from. I try my best to make it like, yes, of course they make sense, and yes, of course these characters would sell the game. Like, of course, if you have Rain and Smoke and Reptile and Ermac and Noob, Mortal Kombat side is selling like crazy. Over here you had the Flash, you got Joker, you got Beast Boy, you got Batman, of course. These characters are selling the game no matter what, so that's why they're on this list. A couple of them are like, whoa, no way, crazy picks, like, Martian Manhunter, Shazam, maybe even Scarlet, Tremor. But again, I love this list. I went back and forth, honestly, on a lot of characters, and I will be going over my honorable mentions later down the video of characters that I actually did have on here that I actually replaced while I was editing this template together, because again, it was just so hard to choose of who I want on the list. So I will go over honorable mentions here later, again, of characters that I see why you would have put them on the list, why they probably belong here. They just didn't quite make my final list. We're making a list. We're making a dream roster. Do you want to make my day? Well, go ahead and subscribe. I mean, if you've made it this far in the video, you probably enjoy what I do. So if you want more of it, you could just press that button right there and subscribe and get more of it. And I appreciate the support. All right, Mortal Kombat DLC pack. Let's get into it. By the way, there are so many DLC packs they could do. I didn't have a ton of time to do 40 different packs, but so this is just pack 1, pack 2. They would do a lot more, obviously. But pack 1 for Mortal Kombat, we got TOKON. Now listen, TOKON, we got Shao Kahn. I love that kind of dynamic. I love TOKON. He was one of the best characters newly introduced in Mortal Kombat X. He was in Mortal Kombat 11, and sadly he wasn't in Mortal Kombat 1. He took a backseat, which is again unfortunate, but I actually really enjoy TOKON, so bring him in as DLC. But if you're gonna bring in TOKON, and we got the fam, we got Shao, we got Molina, we got Katana. Well, where is Jade? She's coming with TOKON, baby. They have that love interest in Mortal Kombat 11. Let's keep that going. I know this is a completely different universe. Obviously, it's MK cross DC, but still, I don't mind this. I don't mind the love interest we got going on here. And if they brought them both to a combat pack, I would be so down. Again, we got Katana and Molina. Complete the trio with Jade, you know what I'm saying? We got Shao. Well, let's complete the family. Yeah, we got to complete the family. Bring in Sindel. Bring in Mommy Sindel, bro. You know what I'm saying? You got, again, the whole family is here now, though. It all just makes sense. You got Sindel, you got Jade, Molina, Katana, and Shao. The whole family is there. I'm going to say this last one for a little bit over the DC side, but this is kind of where it stemmed from. I was like, if you bring Kotal, you're going to bring in Jade. That's perfect, because then you can complete the family, the trio of the girls. But if you got Daddy there, you got Daddy Shao, bring in Mommy Sindel. You know what I'm saying? So over on the DC side, let's go ahead and reveal some of the DC DLC. Oh my gosh, that one's hard to say. All right. Okay, you guys know how I said we got Beast Boy and Cyborg. I want to keep going with the Teen Titans thing. And the reason why I did this is because, okay, if you're going to have Raven, you know who a big freaking baddie would be for a DC DLC? But Trigon, bro. Because I actually meant to reveal Trigon first. Because if you bring in Trigon, you bring in Raven, the daddy issues, for the lore and the story. And Raven is such a cool character. She was awesome in Injustice. She was awesome in Injustice 1. Holy cow, that was hard to say too. But she was in Injustice 1, and she was amazing and so much fun. And I've always wanted Trigon, the big baddie of a DC-sided game. So again, if you bring in Trigon, bring in Raven, because now we're starting to complete the Teen Titans a little bit. It'd be so freaking cool. So going on to one more on the DC DLC side, and we got Red Tornado. I know, crazy pick. A lot of you guys wait, what? Red Tornado. It's again one of those underutilized underutilized, underrated, underdog characters. He's under everything, bro. And I would love to see him in any DC fighting game. And if they made a DLC pack, bro, you know, for the lore, let's say Trigon comes in, he's the big baddie. So Raven comes in, he's like, I'm sorry about my dad, I'm here to help. And then they call in reinforcements. And one of those reinforcements is Red. And the other reinforcement to really stop the Trigon invasion is Plastic Man. What a crazy, wild, and fun character that would be to have in a game like this, bro. I mean, he's basically Mr. Fantastic, or, you know, whatever, like the stretchy powers and all that. We don't have that here. Now, they did a little bit of that with Martian Manhunter in Injustice 1, but that's not what he's known for. Plastic Man is known for that. So give him more of those powers and really lean into the other powers that Martian Manhunter has. And Plastic Man, dude, the cosmetics, dude, imagine the intros with him and Johnny Cage. Oh, that would go crazy, dude. And honestly, again, just such a fun character. All these characters would have amazing cosmetics, you know, the costumes they would have, the gear they would have. They have so many different outfits to pull from the past games, all the comics, the universes. This game could have, I would say, hundreds or thousands of different ways to customize your character, and they would all look so great. So for DLC on the DC side, Trigon comes in, big baddie. Raven's like, I'm so sorry. They're like, we need reinforcements. Call in Red Tornado and Plastic Man. I think an awesome DLC pack. Personally, I'm biased, I'm humble, but awesome DLC pack. But who would you have made DLC? Again, let me know your thoughts down below. Now, before we get into the very last character, we've revealed most of the DLC on both sides. I gotta hear you guys' thoughts. You have to let me know what you guys think down below, because I think they're great and I have my reasons of why I chose them. So the last character on the Mortal Kombat DLC pack 1, we got Triborg. Now hear me out, okay? Hear me out. Seriously. I think that a big staple of MK versus DC, let alone because Mortal Kombat has done this before, is stances, right? Like in the 3D era, they had a weapon stance, they had this stance, and in Injustice, they have character traits, right? Like, you know, in the games of Injustice, Superman can, you know, go Superman and like hit harder. Aquaman can slip out of combos and whatnot. You get the idea. They have character traits. So let's kind of merge those two together for MK versus DC 2, where they have a mixture of maybe stances and or character traits. And the character trait for Triborg is his different characters that he represents, right? Like he comes in as Cyber Smoke. That this is how we cover Sector and Cyrax and even Cyber Sub-Zero and any other cybers you want to introduce into his moves. That way, we have one character slot, but 4 or 5 different characters. You know what I'm saying? So that way, we're not wasting a slot on Sector, and then Cyrax, and then Cyber Smoke, and then Cyber Sub-Zero. You have one character slot that can do them all, allowing you to learn them all. And that's the character trait. You switch between these stances. So if you're in the mood to be a bit more zony and you want to shoot missiles and or you go sector mode for Triborg, and then you're feeling more of a trap setup for the moment of who your matchup is, you go Cyrax. You see what I'm getting at? Like, that's why I chose Triborg. I was like, this is honestly perfect if they were to do any kind of like stance or character trait to cycle between those stances or characters that he has within him, hence Triborg. So kind of a one-off pick, but there's a big reason why I chose him. He's the one that doesn't really match the bringing in the other 3, right? You bring in Kotal as like the other Kong, which then brings in Jade, and then Mommy's here, so it kind of completes the family thing going on. Then they have like a love interest. Triborg doesn't really fit into that, right? Because he's just Triborg, but that's why I chose him. So don't yell at me in the comments. All right, guys, pretty stacked Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe 2 base roster along with DLC packs on each side. How did I do? Let me know your thoughts down below. I would love to hear from you. Which characters do you agree with? Which characters do you disagree with? Which characters am I missing? Let me know your thoughts down below. Also, I do want to bring up my honorable mentions, characters that I could see why they would be on the list. They actually were on my list for a brief period before I was like making all these decisions. So on the Mortal Kombat side, here are my honorable mentions. Jax, Kano, Sonya. I don't like them personally as characters, but I get why they're a big part of Mortal Kombat and why you would include them. I wanted more of the ninjas. I wanted more of the iconic characters. Although they kind of are, they just didn't fit my roster. I also have Kenshi. I really wanted him. I just couldn't fit him in the roster that I had. A big one missing is Kung Lao. I'm not gonna lie to you, Kung Lao, I like him, but he seems to die in every iteration of the game. So I'm like, rather than have him die, just have him be dead before the game starts, and he's not here. We got Jade, we got Katana, Melina. I wanted Tanya, but again, with all the characters that I wanted, I mean, I guess you could replace Scarlet with Tanya, Sonya. I think I just like Scarlet more, so that's why she's here. Again, I really wanted the ninjas. I wanted to think about how, you know, this game needs to sell as a Mortal Kombat versus DC2, and I wanted to include Aaron Black. I think he's an amazing character. He is just like a basic dude with a gun, but he's so cool. Very unique as like the cowboy, the outworld or whatever. I think it'd be great. Again, just didn't fit my roster. And last two, we have Geras and Fujin. Geras the Time Lord, one of the best newest characters they brought. I almost replaced him with TOKON, but I was like, nah, we've seen Geras twice now, and though I love him, I would love to see Kotal return, and then that brought in Jaden, whatever. And then as a Raiden main, I love the idea of him having, you know, his brother Fujin here, the god of wind. And I almost put Fujin instead of Shao Kahn, but I was like, no, Shao Kahn's gotta be here. So a lot of my honorable mentions there that, again, I could see why you would put them. I did, but I just couldn't keep them. And now for the DC honorable mentions, we almost have completed the Teen Titans, but as you see here, we don't. We're missing Starfire and Robin. I liked Starfire in Injustice 2. We haven't seen Raven for longer, and I wanted to see her back and make Starfire sit one out. And then for Robin, we already have Batman. I didn't want another, you know, star throwing, staff holding dude, so I just kept it as Raven Beast Boy for the love interest because of Trigon, and then of course Cyborg being the Justice League founding member out of the Teen Titans, so he's there of course. But trust that I did want to include Starfire and Robin. They just did not make the final cut. I really wanted to include Bane because I was like, he's a grappler and he is probably one of the only grapplers in a game like this, but I figured maybe we change the styles of some of these other characters to be grapplers, maybe, you know, Shazam or whatever. But Bane almost made my list, and so did Green Arrow. Green Arrow is arguably like another founding member of the Justice League. I just don't. We have Batman as the more interface gadget guy. We have Lex Luthor. I didn't really care to have a arrow shooting dude. I know it's cool, whatever, but I just didn't. He just didn't make the cut at the very end, you know. And then a character that I made fun of in the beginning is Catwoman. I know why people want her here. She's been in the Injustice games and of course the first MK vs DC2 or MK vs DC, but like she doesn't need to be number 2. Like I love Catwoman as a character. I don't know why she's the go-to villain or, you know, vigilante or whatever for Batman villains to be in games like this. Like Joker is more understandable and so is Harley, but like why Catwoman? So she stuck one out obviously. And then the other one I have for honorable mentions, and the last one I have is actually all the colored lanterns. So if you want to bring Atrocitus or Sinestro for the Lantern Corps, that's why I mentioned earlier that I wanted premiere skins for these characters, so you could include Sinestro and Atrocitus or whatever to be a Lantern character, but more of a premiere skin for the Green Lantern, the Lantern moveset. You can either play as Green Lantern, you can play as Sinestro, but when you're playing Sinestro, you're just a yellow Lantern with the same moveset you would have if you played Hal Jordan. You get what I'm saying? So like honorable mentions, but there are ways to kind of put these characters in the game kind of right. Again, they're honorable mentions because, man, they almost made the cut. They were close. A lot of them, like Kung Lao, were actually on my list. They were here and I had to like take them out because I was like, nah, Shao Kahn's a better fit. But again, guys, it was so hard to choose these characters. A couple of them are bias picks, Tremor and Mira and whatnot, but it was so hard to choose the right characters for this roster. But damn, if I might say, I'm pretty proud of it at the end here though. And again, if you enjoy content like this, subscribe here for more. We have new videos Monday and Friday and we stream twice a week. You guys are amazing. Thank you for sticking around. Have a great night. Be safe out there. Take it one step at a time, and I will see you in the next video and or stream.